Riva del Garda, a beautiful traditional Italian township nestled on the northwestern shoreline of Lake Garda, Italy, surrounded by the majestic foothills of the Dolomite mountain range. The town of Riva holds great beauty and stunning architecture which dates back to the 13th century. It is a popular tourist destination known for its postcard lakefront scenery and award-winning wine and cuisine. Riva offers some of the best mountain biking, rock climbing and trekking in Europe, and its world-famous katabatic winds. Wind sport enthusiasts from around the globe flock to Riva to experience its iconic conditions generated by the surrounding mountain ranges. A powerful northerly wind called the Palere is generated in the morning, and like clockwork switches in the afternoon to a southerly wind called the Aura.
This north wind is a mix of two winds in general. We have this wind coming from that valley, which is Balino Valley, and otherwise we have the wind coming from the river valley from Sarka Valley, and then on the lake you have the mix of those two winds, and this is the famous Peler. The Aura wind is the typical thermical wind. It will start from 12 and it will blow till 7.
Year after year, World Sailing Championships are held in Riva, and this week it is home to the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and Star European Championships. This year's event marks the first time that the Star Sailors League has been to Riva, boasting an incredible 89 entrants, all vying for 2,500 Star Sailors League ranking points and the lion's share of a $100,000 prize purse. Making up the fleet are Olympic legends, world champions, European champions, Volvo ocean racers and America's Cup icons, giving the amateur crews in the competition a chance to rub shoulders and race against the heroes of modern-day sailing.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a wonderful place for tourism. Maybe this week seems to be wild in terms of wind condition, but it's very nice to see joining together SSL event with the European Championship of the Star class. It's a huge fleet, so gonna have extremely high level competition. It's gonna be tough, big challenge.
The Star Sailors League runs a groundbreaking format developed by the sailors. 4 days of fleet racing determine the top 10 qualifiers, making the cut for the final rounds of competition. The top qualifier gets an automatic bye into the finals. Second place guarantees a semi-final spot, leaving the final 8 to do battle in the quarterfinals. It's all or nothing racing. Only the calm, cool and consistent will prevail. Day 1 delivered a perfect start to the competition. A strong and steady Aura breeze of 16 to 18 knots filled the lake with champagne sailing conditions as the 89 crews took to the water. Sailing commentator and host Digby Fox takes us through the action on day 1.
The first ever SSL Breeze Grand Slam delivered the goods on Lake Garda in northern Italy. On the windy start of race 1, Paul Cayard and Arthur Lopez fired off the line and tacked over with precision, speed and space. They finished in second, just millimetres ahead of Robert Scheid and Henry Björning. How close was that? While Diego Negri and Fritjof Kleen scooped the bullet in first. Such joy turned to despair in race 2 when Negri and Kleen were called over the line early. Game over.
We had I think, a very dominating first race, and then we were really stupid at the starting line. I pushed a bit too much, my skipper, actually maybe because I was too cold. But I think it was very clear that we were over.
Scheid and Björning, though, aced race 2 with a win to see them lead overall. Cayard and Lopez a second overall.
To get a 2-3 is a fantastic way to start the week, and it's also demonstrative that we had good speed and we made good starts, and fighting with Robert Scheid all day for me is an honor.
With 2 podium results, Brazilian duo Robert Scheid and his crew Henry Björning topped the leaderboard after the first day's action. Consistent sailing puts Paul Cayard and Arthur Lopez in second place. with the new pairing of Martin Kuznerovic and Federico Malo completing the podium in third. With such a large fleet of boats on a small racecourse, consistent performances will prove the key ingredient of the week, with the smallest of errors resulting in large losses on the standings. Day 2 delivered perfect sailing conditions as promised. As the afternoon approached, so did a moderate aura breeze from the south. The crews would certainly be tested, as the race committee announced they would hold 3 races in the afternoon.
We have seen the weather forecast for next day, and seems to be raining and the wind will drop. And so today we are trying to sail the 3rd race.
Having experience racing on Lake Garda pays off, as the sheer cliffsides near the small town of Le Mornay provide a favourable lift in the breeze, allowing the first to reach it a chance to cross ahead of the competition. The starts also proving critical, with large quantities of boats all jockeying for a clear spot on the start line. 2-time Olympic gold medalist Shirley Robertson caught up with some of the sailors before leaving the dock.
I think today is a normal day for Riva, so we will have 15-18 knots, and if the start is in the center we will have to go on the right like yesterday, so it's going to be very hard in the start to get the quick lane to go on the right, and then he's playing on the lay line.
There's just legends here. They've been through the mill with all types of racing here, and they know what's up, and this fleet is just a good breeding ground for people to learn and excel and be amongst the best guys. So that's why I'm here.
Digby Fox takes us through the action from day 2 of the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and Star European Championships.
Danish duo Schoenherr and Gravad created drama on the start line, smashing in on port. The right was again the favoured side under the mountains. Negri and Clean drag racing to the finish against Kayard and Lopez, the Italian-German duo showing their hunger to win. 95 Stars Clean off the start line is a majestic sight. Kuznerovic and Melo won the battle upwind with time to wave at the drone on the final upwind leg. An amazing performance by the Polish-Portuguese duo. Race officer Giancarlo Cravatin stuck with his plan to bank another race, the 5th of the championship. This time Americans Doyle and Feliz getting squeezed at the pin, then rolled by Grael and Truche from Brazil. On that favoured Garda shoreline, Negri and Clean again showed their form. But it was Loof and Fatih, the Swedish-American duo, who came out on top, ahead of Doyle and Infeliz in the tightest pack we've seen so far. Olympic gold medalist Loof extended all the way to finish miles ahead in first. But the legendary downwind skills of Robert Scheidt with Henry Björning came into play, which sees the Brazilian duo at the top of the leaderboard after 5 races.
Yeah, we're happy, it was a pretty tough day out there. It was really windy, and you had to go to the right. There was not many options tactically. We had a little bit of a situation in the first start. Our main got ripped, so we got a rip of about 10 to 15 centimeters. We had to race all day with that rip, and I was always worried that it was going to get bigger, but it held on, and 3 good races, 3 solid races, and it's a good day.
On that final run, Kuznerovic and Melo had a mast failure, which was gutting.
Yeah, we really enjoyed today actually, except broken mast, but this happens on the last race, last downwind. Anyway, winning the race during the championship regatta, SSL Grand Slam, is just such a beautiful feeling, and it came to us not so easy, because we have to fight it back, and we managed to sail really good downwinds today. Upwind we were holding pretty good starts, but downwind I felt like I was dancing with my wife.
After an eventful and full afternoon of racing, Robert Scheidt and Henry Björning held on to their narrow lead at the top of the leaderboard. Diego Negri and Christoph Clean made up for their day 1 disaster, finding themselves in second. Martin Kuznerovic and Federico Malo round off the podium in third, but face a busy evening lifting their boat out of the water to repair the broken mast in time for racing the following day.
When the mast was down, we still have a little bit of sail out, so which pushed us. And I managed to surf a couple of waves with the broken mast. So amazing and pretty cool. Of course, now we have a lot of work to do. I think next 2-3 hours we'll spend on putting the new mast, stretch it, and hopefully gonna be ready for tomorrow.
With the qualification cutoff looming near, nerves and excitement gripped the boat park on the morning of day 3. Conditions were forecasted to be shifty and unpredictable as the lake was shrouded in fog and cloudy skies, stopping the signature winds from building. Star Sailors League regular Alvin Melleby and his crew Josh Rivkin sat just outside qualification in 11th. With several other top 10 regulars such as George Szabo, Augie Diaz and Lars Grael further back but not out of the running. With all to play for, the competition was ramping up. Digby Fox takes us through the on-water action from day 3.
More start line drama kept sailors and viewers on the edge of their seats during race 6 of the Star Europeans and first ever SSL Breeze Grand Slam on Lake Garda. With a disqualification in place for anyone over the line early, 7 boats were flagged by the race committee, including overall leaders Robert Scheid and Henry Björning, Eric Doyle and Payson Infeliz, and George Szabo and Guy Avalon, who were clearly not happy to be flicked. The different course and lighter winds saw new faces at the front of the fleet, with Florian Rauderschel and Michael Fischer from Austria at the front of the pack. On the second lap, the Austrian duo overstood the ley line to give the lead to the tactical genius of Mateusz Kuznetovic and Federico Mello, who won race 6.
We won.
A real sense of relief. It was a stressful race.
Oh, it was, especially on the beginning because we started on the committee boat, and I don't know if you watched, but it was so Pin was so favorite. On the beginning, I think I remember that I said to Federico, don't look up, don't look up. And on the top mark, we were already 10th or something like this. And then we worked out our way. Very nice race.
Forced to discard maximum points in race 6, Scheit and Boning remain at the top of the leaderboard, with Kuznetovic and Mallow closing the gap in second to just 2 points. Diego Negri and Christoph Klein rounded off the podium in third. With 6 races completed, the focus shifted to the teams teetering on the 10th place cutoff. After a good race, Melleby and Rivkin now slide into a safer 9th place. However, star legend Lars Grael and crew Pedro Truche sit just outside of the cut in 13th, with Augie Diaz and George Szabo sitting further down the standings. This opens the playing field for several crews to break into the top 10 to battle on Super Sunday against the legends of the sport in the knockout races. Damp and dreary conditions greeted the fleet for the final day of qualification, as a moderate paleo breeze from the north filled in for the start of race 7. Digby Fox takes us through the on-water action.
Fiery Brazilian and 5-time Olympic medalist Robert Scheid with Henry Björning relinquished the overall lead of the SSL Breeze Grand Slam and Star Europeans to the Polish-Portuguese duo Mateusz Kuznetovic and Federico Mello, who nailed race 7, their 3rd win so far.
On with the winners, and Mateusz, we saw you cross that line and give a big fist pump. It meant a lot to win that race.
Oh yeah, for sure. First of all, welcome back. We have you quite often, and this is amazing actually. This is third race of the championship we are winning. Yeah, this is very important moment of the regatta, because now we are fighting for the top standing, and first we'll go directly to the final. Second we'll go to the semi-final. So this is the big benefit, and maybe during the race we are not thinking about it, but when you ask now, that means a lot to us.
French duo Xavier Rohard and Pierre-Alexis Ponceau won race 8 to see them firmly in the top 10.
Big smiles on board this boat. I mean, that was a huge smile.
Yeah, finally it was important for us to show that we can win, we can be there for the final, we can be and everything, so that's very important.
Lake Garda provided physically demanding and tactical racing for the fleet with the Pelair wind from the north. With one more day to go, the overall leaderboard looks like this, with safe spots for the likes of Paul Kayard and Arthur Lopez, Freddie Luke and Brian Fatigue. But as only 10 will survive into the quarters, semis and finals, 10th placed Merkelbach and Koy, 11th placed O'Leary and 12th placed Missouri and Barach are in the danger zone.
Yeah, we've been chipping away at the kind of just outside, and today we've probably suited us a little more. It wasn't so one-sided, and we just stuck at it, and the weather is probably a bit like home, so it made us no worries. We're tricky enough conditions. We were kind of a little bit higher in the last race, dropped a few spots, but just if you can kick in solid scores, single digits, it'll get you home in this regatta. So.
For those crews missing the cut after day 4, a lifeline was given by the race committee, announcing they would sail race 9 of the qualification in the early hours of Sunday morning, giving those who missed out one last chance to break into the top 10 and fight for the $100,000 prize purse. Not only was the pressure on the crews sitting just on the cutoff, but the crews at the top of the leaderboard, with the top qualifier heading straight to the finals and second place into the semis. Super Sunday had the makings of what would be an epic final day of racing in Riva for the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and Star European Championships. Welcome back to Riva for the final day of racing for the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and 2019 Star European Championships. With one race left in the qualification series, all eyes were on the crews sitting around the cutoff of 10th place. Germany's Hubert Merkelbach and Markus Koy had the chance of breaking through into the finals, stringing together a series of very consistent results.
Yeah, I mean, when we've been looking at the table before the regatta and knew, of course, which great guys are here and we're competing against, we had the big goal to be in the top 10, but we knew it's going to be difficult. So, of course, the top 10 cut would be the ultimate cut for us, yeah.
As race 9 got underway, France's Xavier Rohat and Pierre-Alexis Poisson stole a charge on the fleet, throughout the week getting better and faster. Shooting out to an early lead at the top mark, Rohat and Poisson repeated their form of race 8, taking a second race win, securing their spot in the quarterfinals. Sailing true to form was Scheidt and Boning, taking second, with the Italians Bernamatti and Ambrosini taking third and claiming a spot in the quarterfinals. On the last downwind leg, it looked like Scheidt and Boning would qualify first, but a moment of brilliance saw Kuznerovic and Mello come from behind and overtake 4 boats on the line to claim the top spot from Scheidt and Boning, sending them straight into the finals.
I was not very happy with the start. We were squeezed and then we couldn't get our rhythm. But on the end we've got the superpowers. And then we finished 4th, I think, in this regatta, which is unbelievable. And we secure our top spot, so that means that we will go directly to the final, to top 4. This week was very tough, but we really enjoyed it, and now everything is on the table. We have to fight until the end.
With the qualification series completed, the top 10 remained. Kuznerovic and Mello in first and straight into the finals. Scheidt and Boning safely into the semis. And making up the quarterfinals would be Negri and Clean, Caillard and Lopez, and informed Rohat and Poisson, Bernamatti and Ambrosini, Doyle and Infeliz, Swedish Olympic legend and his crew, Brian Fati, back after suffering a back injury from a collision with another boat, Malaby and Revkin, and snatching the final place was Merkelbach and Koy. The 8 crews in the quarterfinals made their way back out onto the waters of Lake Garda, with Kuznerovic and Scheidt watching closely from the boundaries. Lining up for the start, it wasn't long before the race committee came over the radio to announce that Doyle and Infeliz were over the line too early at the start, forcing them to turn around and restart their quarterfinals race, a mistake that unfortunately the American duo would not recover from. Finding their form throughout the whole regatta was France's Xavier Rohat and Pierre-Alexis Poisson, shooting out to an early lead at the top mark from Italy's Roberto Bernamatti and Alberto Ambrosini. After a close downwind leg, the fleet had split marks at the bottom gate, with Rohat hunting down the left-hand side while Caillard took the middle. The fleet soon found themselves in an all-out drag race to the top mark, bow to bow, no one giving an inch. Bernamatti and Ambrosini rounded first ahead of Caillard and Lopez, with Rohat and Ponson chasing in third. In a thrilling downwind leg to the finish, Xavier Rohat and Pierre-Alexis Ponson showed incredible speed to take the quarter-final race win, just ahead of Caillard and Lopez, Negri and Clean taking third. Knocked out of the regatta were Loof and Fatih, Merkelbach and Coy, and Doyle and Infeliz. Shirley Robertson caught up with Xavier Rohat and Pierre-Alexis Ponson after their quarter-final win.
That was not predicted like this. We broke the Vang before the start. Just succeed to take the start, finally a good one. And fighting with the others and a bit losing everything, and then catching up and got it.
Wasting no time, the race committee soon got the semi-finals underway. 6 of the best crews lined up on the start, with Robert Scheidt and Henry Boning joining the fight. Neck and neck, the fleet battled to Mark 1. Taking an early lead at the first mark was Rohat and Ponson, ahead of Caillard and Lopez, chased by Scheidt and Boning. With all to play for, the crews soon showed how hard they were working downwind, generating the downwind kinetics. Defending their lead were Rohat and Ponson, rounding the bottom gate in first. Hot on their heels were Caillard and Lopez, who had shown consistently fast boat speed all week. After a long starboard tack to the left-hand side, the fleet closed in on the top mark. Rohat and Ponson extending their lead by 4 boat lengths over Caillard and Lopez, with Scheidt and Boning closing the gap in third. Trailing behind in the elimination positions were the duos of Malaby and Revkin, Negri and Clean, and Bernamatti and Ambrosini. The 3 crews had fought hard all week, but would be eliminated in the semi-finals. Edging ahead at the finish, Caillard and Lopez took the win from Rohat and Ponson, with the last final spot going to Scheidt and Boning. Booking their spot in the finals, Shirley Robertson caught up with semi-final race winner Paul Caillard and his crew, Arthur Lopez.
We're going fast and got good rhythm downwind and, tactically did what we had to do there to make sure we stayed in the top 3.
94 teams had been whittled down to the final 4. And a stacked final it would be. All crews previous Star World champions. The final consisted of Kuznerovic and Malo, Scheidt and Boning, Caillard and Lopez, and Rohat and Ponson. All eyes were now fixed on the final race to see who would come out on top. Inside the final minute of the start, Rohat and Ponson pushed Caillard and Lopez into attack as the 4 teams jostled for clear wind. Keeping their nose clear and starting at the pin were Scheidt and Boning, with Kuznerovic and Malo close behind on their hip. Tack for tack, the 4 boats could not be separated into the first top mark, with Caillard and Lopez rounding just ahead of Rohat and Ponson. Scheidt and Boning still in touch with the leaders, rounded in third. Slightly adrift, Kuznerovic and Malo trailed in fourth. Battling hard downwind, Caillard and Lopez entered the bottom gate 30 metres ahead, taking the left-hand side, while Rohat and Scheidt took the right. As the teams came back together, it was clear that Caillard and Lopez had made the wrong call, falling back into third behind Scheidt and Boning and Rohat and Ponson. The French duo had sailed an incredible upwind leg, extending their lead into the final top mark over Scheidt and Boning by 35 metres. The boats entered the final downwind leg to the finish. Scheidt and Boning had the afterburners on, sailing a more direct course to the finish and having half the deficit to the leaders. Jibing over, the French looked to have covered the Brazilians to protect their lead, but the 2 boats were now nose to nose in an all-out drag race to the finish. Known as the fastest downwind star sailors in the world, Robert Scheidt and Henry Boning soon edged ahead of the French duo as the pair battled to the finish. Scheidt and Boning edging ahead in the final moments by a boat length to secure their victory over Rohat and Ponson. In a dramatic come-from-behind victory, Robert Scheidt and Henry Boning take the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and 2019 Star European Championship.
I was so tired that he had to tell me that we won because, I was seeing black already, my heart rate was so up and I said, did we really win? He said, yeah, we won. So it was, amazing race.
Taking a well-deserved second was Xavier Rohart and Pierre-Alexis Poulsen, with Paul Cayard and Arthur Lopez taking third. Retiring from the international racing scene would be Brazilian star sailing legend Lars Grael, after decades of competition at the top of the sport, serving as an inspiration to sailors and athletes around the globe. Lars has made the 2019 Star Sailors League Breeze Grand Slam and Europeans his last international regatta, bidding the Starfleet farewell in a ceremony dedicated to his career achievements. Thank you for joining us here in Riva Lake Garda. It has been an unforgettable week in one of Europe's most captivating sailing meccas, serving up world-class conditions with some of the closest, most competitive star racing to date.